Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network. The broadcast shows are for informational and entertainment purposes only. They are not designed to provide listeners with specific personal, medical, or counseling advice. Individuals with a medical issue should always consult their healthcare provider. MS&Me is not responsible for content of individual shows. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own. Enjoy the show.
Hi there. Welcome to the 80th episode of A Couple Takes on MS. Hi, this is Dan Digman.
And hi, it's me, Jennifer Digman.
Welcome to our show, and we're looking at the calendar. And if you can pause for a second, we're in the middle of, right now, the month of July. And so we flipped over the calendar. It's July, and truly this is... We're around, like halfway through 2019.
Wow. Where did the time go? This month, this year, these months have gone so quickly. And I think it's a perfect time to just stop and evaluate
Where we are. What we'll talk about, and you can chime in and let us know. Send us a message on Twitter. Our handle is @DanJenDig, or on our website, danandjenniferdigman.com. And we're talking about really halftime adjustments with your MS. And what I mean by this, if you can picture, we watch football games, basketball games, and if our favorite team is falling behind or isn't winning in the first half, I always tell Jennifer, just wait. They need to make halftime adjustments, because basically the teams go into a game thinking what their opponent's going to bring at them, and all of a sudden they find their game plan isn't working. So they need to take a break at the half, make adjustments, and come back out and attack it in a different way. This being said, as I always bring multiple sclerosis as my competition, what was my goal, or were my goals for 2019? And I'm halfway through the year. How am I doing? And what do I need to do to make adjustments to stay in the game against multiple sclerosis here in the second half of the year? And so we'll talk today and give you tips as to how to make halftime adjustments and why they need to be done.
And you're good like that because you really compare multiple sclerosis as a challenger, like as an athlete, and you really find inspiration from professional athletes and professional sporting events. You always say, halftime adjustments when we're watching a game, and I get kind of downtrodden when, my favorite team is losing. Oh, Jennifer, they'll go into the locker room and make adjustments. And they really do, and it's an opportunity for us who are not professional athletes, but those of us living with multiple sclerosis or any chronic illness, to reevaluate what you've done. And never mind the fact that I've been living with multiple sclerosis for a little over 20 years. I still need to stop and reevaluate every once in a while, because in January of 2019, what my goals were for the year, what my resolution, they may not have been realistic. They may have been really high hopes and really pushing myself a lot. Now here in July, I haven't done as much as I thought I would in January, perhaps. And rather than beat myself up and looking at it like, oh my gosh, I'm a failure, I'm taking this halftime adjustment time to reevaluate and say, okay, maybe you didn't get as much done as you wanted, but good heavens, you've got 6 months, left in the year. What can you do? As Dan always said when he was running, finish strong.
And with a race and a competition, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And I think that, for me, like I'm sure most people, is like a goal that what I needed to do, what I had planned and wanted to do in 2019 was to get into better physical shape. Not just, and I'm not saying I need to pump more iron or get, buff and muscle and run 20 miles. I need to be active, and
You're being honest.
I failed miserably. I failed miserably because there was always the excuse in the winter. It's like, oh, it's cold and blah, blah, blah. And now that it's nice, I'm saying, oh, well, it's too hot. And
That's Michigan. That's life in Michigan. We're not happy when it's cold, and then when it's warm, we're not happy because it's too hot. But we are both being honest with each other. Like, these nice days when it is warm, we have to savor them.
And this is where, and it's all about making things a habit. And I think that's one of the big things for me for my halftime adjustment. And I did that on, Friday. I did go for a walk. I walked around the neighborhood like I should. And yesterday we were at the CMU PT student 5K. I didn't do the 5K, but we at least walked because I wanted to go to certain points on their race route. And I got my steps in, and I think that's the big thing that I need to do for my halftime adjustment with the exercise is make it a habit. And I think that's when I used to run, why I never flinched about when I would come home from work. It's just like that was a standard, and you never questioned, never complained. You knew.
Yeah, it's kind of like brushing your teeth in the morning. I don't wake up and say, oh, do I brush my teeth today? It's like, no, you do that every day because it's a habit, it's a routine, something that's just a given. And that's you with running. When you were running and you were working and you come home and you put your clothes on. I almost said pajamas for this thing from pajamas. But you put your running clothes on and you would go. And I knew that would be an hour where I would have some alone time. And I apologize that you got out of that habit, but I look forward to you getting back into walking and taking care of your health a little bit more. And I think as my caregiver, when you're taking care of your health, it pushes me to do the same. And I think, as we've often, said, that the caregiving, you take care of yourself and that'll help me take care of myself and vice versa. And so with you working on walking, maybe I'll be a little more prone or committed to watching my diet, which I have failed at miserably this year. But my halftime adjustment is to drink more water and to eat better. Don't take the easy way out for me, which I'm prone to do. Like, oh, this food is here. Yes, it's horrible for me, but I'm hungry and it'll be easy and it'll be quick. I'm going to get back to planning my diet a little bit more and treating myself a little better. If you're getting more activity and you're feeling spry and really taking care of your health, I think that'll trickle down and I'll start doing it.
And I think that's one of the big things, and you say that because it's like how we hold each other accountable. And I think for everyone out there, we always talk like with MS being a quote isolating disease, and we're always like, to get out there and make those connections. Part of the halftime adjustments is knowing you're not in this alone, and so you go and you find that person, those people who will push you, will make you, hold you accountable, and make you feel responsible. And that's where I apologize and that I failed you. I think that I'm maintaining.
Well, you haven't failed me, but
it's
we've gotten lax together.
Yeah, to where I need to help you by helping myself. And I think that's one of the big adjustments for us and for everybody out there. It's like, how much do you focus on you and your self-care, and what about you? And with that, I don't want to say, thinking about the multiple sclerosis. I mean, this goes beyond the MS. It's just like, what are you doing to take care of you?
And it sounds selfish, and at times it can seem that way, but if Dan is taking care of himself, he's not only taking care of himself, but he's going to make himself that much better to help take care of me. and vice versa. And any of us out there in caregiving relationships, whether you're the person being taken care of or you're the person taking care of someone, you need to be selfish and think about yourself. I know when I focus on my diet and exercise and stretching, that makes my caregiver's job easier. Because I'm no longer walking because of my multiple sclerosis. I need a caregiver that can transfer me and help me with activities of daily living that, my husband needs to be strong and healthy for. And my caregivers, and if I weigh less, just makes sense. I'm going to be that much easier to transfer. And so it's a win-win. And that's one win of, or one good point about being somewhat selfish, where I say, no, I'm not going to eat that junk food. And maybe right now you're going to wish I did, but trust me, you will thank yourselves when I lose a little weight. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, and I think that's where, like you say, it's the building the community and you're holding each other. Because I feel irresponsible if you're eating carrots and stuff, and then I say, oh, I should go get a Snickers. Well, no, it's just like, no, I need to eat that, and one of the big things that we've done, and we're really focusing on it, it's been really easy over the last, 14 years we've been married and 17 years we've been together, just like focusing on you and me to help each other. And it's like you forget how much your community helps you. And just like, so one of the halftime adjustments we've really been cognizant of is to reach out and connect like purposefully with somebody else, not saying, oh, we should go out sometime, we should do this, and so
Make it happen.
Yeah, just like don't should on yourself.
No,
It's like we're doing this, we are doing this, and that's where you were a superhero just for reaching out to our friends to go out for dinner.
and it's something simple like that. And again, I blame it on Michigan weather, which can make isolation that much easier to happen, especially winter. And we kind of lose touch with our friends. But as summer has finally arrived in Michigan, Dan says we go out to dinner with friends. And that sounds silly, but that social time is important. It's important for us, but it's likewise really important for our friends. And we had the opportunity to have dinner with some good friends, Jerry and Kathy, this past week, and it just felt so good for both of our hearts. Just to see people that we care about and catch up, and just, Pete and Deb, another group of friends, they were with us, and it's just very nice and social. And yes, we're all aware of our multiple sclerosis or our health conditions, but for that hour and a half, 2 hours, we are nothing but surrounded by good times and friendship. And that's good. So that social element, and if you can't get out of the house, use things like MS Buddy or Facebook chat rooms just to stay engaged. Don't let this disease isolate you. And I think that's a halftime adjustment that you should make every quarter. If you don't wait for the half, constantly be in check to make sure you're engaged and you have that interaction.
I think that's a great point. That's, keep yourself in check, and it's not, don't wait for tomorrow to make those connections, because things, and that's just not to say that we didn't talk about MS, but it's like MS was not the focus. I mean, it's like that there were the three couples, and of those three couples, one of the people within those couples had to use the elevator because they had, there were challenges with accessibility. But it's like, that's not going to keep you from going out and doing and seeing. And so it's just making those efforts. And
that's really important. And speaking of an effort, like a halftime adjustment, it's time to just check in with yourself. And if you're living with multiple sclerosis, or you're the caregiver for someone living with MS, just make a halftime adjustment and say, how is your disease treating you? How are you feeling? How is your diet? How is your activity, your exercise? And then how is your disease modifying therapy if you are taking one of those? How is that? Looking at where you were in January as opposed to now here in July. Have you worsened? Do you need to pop in? Not that you can pop in with a neurologist ever, but, just check in with your neurologist or with your primary care doctor just to have that honest evaluation or conversation. Like, yeah, I'm a little slower than I was 6 months ago, or I'm feeling a little weaker. Excuse me, I'm going to cough. So I think that's really important.
Well, and it's a question of it is that evaluation, because we can look at any given day. How are you doing today? Oh, I'm doing well, or oh, this hurts, or it's like when you're stepping back, see the trees through the forest. Is that how it is?
Yes.
But look at the bigger picture. It's like, okay, well, where was I? How was I at the beginning of the year? Where am I at right now? And I'm not.
And where do I want to be in 6 more months? I think that's a really important thing with the halftime adjustment.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, because you're good at getting to the points quicker than me.
Oh, well, thank you. That's very kind.
Yes.
But it's just the fact, when you're watching an NFL game and you see the team is down and they make the halftime adjustments, they're not like saying, oh, we just want to catch up. They're like, heck no, we want to win. What's it going to take for us to win? And that's like us right now. I have 6 more months in this year. I see myself January 1st down 10 pounds. How am I going to make that happen? Right. You have to name it to claim it.
Well, and that's where you make the halftime adjustments. You're no longer talking in hypotheticals and what could happen, what should happen, what do I want to happen. It's how am I making this happen? How am I going to make sure that I walk every day, or even stretch, or you set up a plan, and that's without, and so how you do it. So then all of a sudden, if I'm stretching, walking, exercising, do whatever, then all of a sudden your healthy eating would, sponge onto me, and
it all snowballs. Again, going back to a Michigan analogy of winter, which I don't want to think about right now. But it is important, and then reach out to a physical therapist if you're doing your exercise and you're not getting as much. If you're still feeling really tired or something is hurting you, can you reach out to a PT, or can you talk to a trainer or somebody to help you? Or if you feel like your therapy that you're taking isn't working, just reach out to your community, your self-help group, your MS support system, your family and friends. Be honest with them. I know it seems sometimes like I want to be strong for my care partner or my family, but if you're not honest, you're going to blindside them when and if something gets worse. So just be honest and talk about the things that may be bothering you at this halftime adjustment period.
Well, because you're in this game with multiple sclerosis. I mean, you're the leader. You're the star player. So it's like you need to communicate. Like you say, being honest, and that communication helps the collective team. But people are looking to you. I mean, and it's. And knowing that, it's a lot easier to be strong, because I look to you. I mean, when I'm weak, I don't. It's like, obviously I play through the pain, but when I'm weak, when I'm struggling, and so you call me out on it, and then we can be honest. And I think that's where.
And that goes with good caregiving relationships. And that's important, that it's not a combative thing. And as Dan and I always say, we're on the same team. And we have to help each other, pick each other up when we need it. and be supportive and always be the other person's biggest advocate. And speaking of advocacy, we're getting to meet with a friend that we haven't seen in 6 months, and we're going to see him coming up this week. And that social, just the getting together and talking about multiple sclerosis and advocacy, that feels really good. And it's something where we know that that's important. And with our halftime adjustments, we're like, we are going to make this a priority to see our friend, and we're lucky that we can do that.
And it charges, it refocuses, because then it helps you regain things, because we're coming up on August when we do our August, when Congress is on their August recess and they come
Yes.
back to in district. We're meeting with our legislators in district, or representative of their office,
The office, yeah.
one of their aides. But it's just like, in doing that, in meeting with Seth, that would charge us, because that just gives us that extra push in
That
terms
extra fuel for our fire to talk about advocacy with the August recess visits for the National MS Society.
and so that's, with your halftime adjustment, in talking in terms of being social. And I think, and that's the one thing, they call it social media for a reason, through the Facebook, through everything, that if you can't get out, there's so many conversations. I mean, there's people we've never met face to face, but it's having that connection through our blog, through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. You have those connections, hold each other accountable, but it's also a great place to express your frustrations and pains, to help you find the solutions to.
And the support.
Yep.
And that's really important. And may I make a really quick
Yes,
shout out,
please.
if I could call it that? Dan and I just want to say thank you to the Central Michigan University Doctor of Physical Therapy students. It's been the past few years, but this year as well, they have had a Stomp Out for MS 5K run walk event where they raise money to support the National MS Society. And we had beautiful weather here in Michigan this weekend, and that's when the event was held, and we were there, and it was really fun. And we have photos on our Facebook page, and I'm sure we will blog about it soon. But again, it was just this weekend, and we were social and kind of busy.
Well, and social with that, and that's what precipitated the dinner with our friends that we had not been out with in a while. You invite them out to dinner, and you go, and and the students have just been phenomenal. And those, they're members of your team, and you reach out and you make those connections, and then you have that many more people encouraging and supporting you in what you do, whether it's directly or indirectly. But it certainly makes me feel that much more connected and proud.
Absolutely.
That and honored that there's people out there that barely know us but are fighting for us.
Yeah, for the 1 million people here in the United States who have been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And Dan and I had the opportunity to talk at Central Michigan University. I like to say that, it's just fun. CMU a few years ago, talk about our lives with MS, and the physical therapy students were really encouraged and motivated to help us fight this disease. And shortly thereafter, they got involved with a fundraising effort that they do every year. And we're just super lucky and thankful to be involved in the National MS Society here in Michigan. Benefits from their activities, and we get to be engaged with a bunch of really awesome college students. So that's why I just want to give it a quick shout out.
And that's so encouraging for us and for everybody, that there's people out there that are doing everything they can to support us and the million people in the U.S. living with this disease.
And that just goes with the halftime adjustments, that it's important to stay engaged and to stay connected and to look at where you are now. And if you're not happy, don't look back. You know, the windshield is bigger than the rear view mirror. Look forward. What can you do to get the end of the year, to get those goals and those things that you wanted for 2020? I mean, you still have time, so make your halftime adjustments.
I think then moving forward, that's what we'll do. And it's not with those adjustments, that what you're trying to set out, what's the end goal and where do you see yourself 5.5, 6 months from now? How are you going to get there? How's that going to happen? How am I going to be better and more fit, I guess.
That
Strength.
works.
See, and that's where I need to establish what is it I want to do. I want to have a body that does not hurt when I stand, and stronger to help you. And so how does that happen? It starts with making a habit of doing some sort of exercise, stretching, etc. Yoga has to happen right now. And so once we get done with this show, before it gets too dark, I will walk around the neighborhood. What about you, Jennifer?
And that's fantastic. And I think I will probably drink some water and just continue to stay active. And I can't really think of anything in particular that I'm going to do right now. But I know that when I wake up tomorrow, I'm going to watch what I eat. And just my halftime adjustments will continue for the next few. Well, for the future, I want to feel stronger, and that's our time.
And so thank you all. And so make your halftime adjustments. Let us know what you're doing. Find us on Twitter at DanJenDig or on our website, danandjenniferdigman.com. Thank you so much for joining us again today. Make your adjustments, and we will talk to you next time. That's thanks to the Gujarat Kid for composing the theme music to our show. And thanks also to the MS&Me Radio Network for having us along and letting our voice be heard and sharing our lives with you. Take care.